Hello all, how are we doing? I hope you're well. I'm sorry it's been so long since the last V8 episode. Lots of stuff's gone on. Easter happened, final year exams happened. I just finished university, so yeah, it's been quite busy. But I've finished university now, so I've got loads of time. So hopefully we'll get a few more episodes out over the coming months. I've got episode 10 already, and obviously you're watching this, so this is episode 9. So yeah, sit back, enjoy. We've got some exhaust stuff, we've got some turbo stuff, and an update at the end. So enjoy. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have Peter. We've definitely not been here all day cocking it up, but
for 2 days cocking it up.
the exhaust manifold man hasn't come. So
Davey can't make the exhaust manifold man come.
Eh?
No viewers.
Unbelievable. It's alright, I'll edit it out.
Yeah, you do that.
Every now and then.
You edit a lot out where you're usually like a complete fucking donkey.
You know, the bit where you were talking about me storing stuff with the V of the engine, the reason there was a beep cut was because that's where I ended the clip. But I wanted to include that
I'm sure
bit.
the people who are watching this are fucking riveted to know
It was
that.
in episode 7.
I bet they're like, whoa, God.
Yeah.
Sleep tonight.
Very exciting stuff. Yeah, so we're making exhaust manifolds and we've been getting it wrong for quite a while. We'll keep you updated.
Trial and error.
Update. Pete's got the angle grinder out. I'm over here. So while Pete is angle grinding, we're cutting a hole in an elbow. Well, Pete is. And then we're going to weld the elbow and a 45-degree angle. We've been doing this for far too long, but this is the best solution we've come up with. Right, quick update on the manifold. Bless you. This one's going to be different because this is the driver's side manifold. This is different because of space constraints to do with the steering rack. All right. And then this is how it's going to work for the rest of the manifold and the passenger side. Elbow T's, because the clever bloke that was meant to come and do the exhaust hasn't. So we're making it.
So, what we're going to do a simple one with the T's for the time being, just so we can fire it up and check the engine over and do bits and bobs and check the wiring and the next Y and Z. And then at a later date, I might have another crack at making them, because I don't know if David's probably not told you, but we spent 2 days trying to get the fucking elbows to fit into the pipes properly, and we can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, what is
it? Problem is, we need some more tools. I don't really want to set up, spend like a couple of $100 on tooling just to make some cuts. So
these are just some of the terrible mistakes we made.
it's a fucking bag full of them down there.
Yeah, that bag's full of our mistakes. So, not ideal. And then, oh, this is sort of what's going to happen on the driver, so I don't know what the orientation is for this. Who knows? But basically, because of where it sits, I don't know which way it's going to be pointing. It's either going to do that.
This is what's the front of the car, darling.
Anyway, it's going to come out a different way because of the steering rack.
That was the front of the car. You was kind of, yeah, we'll sort it. We're getting somewhere.
You'll see it when it's in the car.
Yeah, I think that this weekend has more been a case of we've learned what not to do.
Yeah.
We haven't learned what to actually fucking do.
No. Well, there we go. Evening all. Well, afternoon, really. Back on the exhausts. So, we're doing these T's. This is going to be the driver's side. We're going to have a separate thing going here, so that's why that's not been done. And then for the passenger side... Oh, fucking hell. Cool. Don't roll away. There we go. Hello, Pete.
Hello.
So this is going to be the passenger side, but I've got to make, I think I've got to make about a 10mm cut on that. And that will be that, because there's a gap there. So That's all. And then that'll be the passenger side. So you have 10mm cut off both sides there, 10mm cut off there, passenger side.
You can explain to the good people at home the fact that we're using T's, which means the exhaust pulse will come out and just hit that dead ball, and how that's going to negatively affect the volumetric efficiency of the engine. Go for it, David. You explain that.
I think you just did.
No. We want to. Well, good people at home want to know what volumetric efficiency is, how to calculate volumetric efficiency. This is what it's like working with David.
Well, I don't talk about any of this nonsense.
It's very important stuff.
Yeah, but I don't talk about it. You talk about it. I just go, all right, let's make that.
Nah, to be fair, you're doing well. You're doing really well in the workshop.
I mean, yeah, what is it? Because we had the other. I think they'll see the other way that we wanted to do it.
Yeah,
I've not seen it already.
The way we wanted to do it. Sorry, I've kind of like stolen your moment here, haven't I?
No, you're all right.
Oh, fair.
Do you want the scrap
So
metal
much
pile?
shit in this fucking.
The scrap metal pile's just behind you.
Here's one my sister had earlier. The idea was to build it like that, like what we call, I think it's called a saddle joint. But after many attempts of doing it, it wasn't going to work. And the thing is, you're only getting a little bit of a curve here, so I don't really know what you're going to gain.
You're gonna
watch Turbo Yoda's, and he just went straight for T's. So it's good enough for Al. It's good enough for me.
I mean, the only thing that's going to change is the fact that that's not looping the wrong way.
Yeah, I mean the argument is the exhaust pulse is going to come out of the exhaust, hit that, and bounce back. That's the argument. I don't think it will, because it's a curved area. You know what I mean? If it was flat, you could say it hits that and bounces back. But it's a curved area, it's just going to bounce back in all angles. It's not. You know what I mean?
That, yeah. And the other thing is, you'll have other exhaust gases coming along.
Yeah.
Sort of pushing it, you know, or the lack of exhaust gases further up is going to sort of try and suck it out.
Yeah, what we call the exhaust pulse. The exhaust, is it the exhaust pulse.
I think that we'll be looking too far into it, and I think the main thing at the moment is that we want an exhaust header.
Yeah, I think if you was building like 1,000 brake horsepower fucking car or 1,500 brake horsepower car where every little bit is important, then yeah, I'd agree with you. You need to sort out what they call exhaust scavenging. But on something like this, where it's just fuck about and find out, because that's all this is, isn't it? That's what this year has been. It should be fuck around and find out. That I think that'll be good enough. Yeah. And David's done a really good job at cutting these, and that sounded like us being sarcastic. I'm not. David's done a really good job.
I mean, this is probably the
best
work
bit
I've done.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Apart from ordering pizza, you are really good at ordering
fantastic.
pizza.
And the other thing I'm not bad at was the engine mounts over there. They weren't bad.
Yeah,
the gearbox mount.
The gearbox mounts, the engine mounts are really good. David is a shit hot welder. When somebody shows him how to weld it, sets the welder up perfectly for him, and all he has to do is go. And to be fair, you do a very good job of going fucking perfect.
Hey,
I am making men wet. That welding's that good.
I can read a graph or a table. That's all it was. Like the settings on the welder, you just have to read the table.
Yeah, but because I've worked that welder for a bit and I've worked with the steel for a bit, I kind of know what it takes. You know what I mean? That like the welder says for the manual says, I think it's like level 1 for welding the body panels together. Yeah, if you do that, you're just going to burn straight through. So I've dropped it down, and you learn your welder. You learn your welder. Which, you will learn in time.
It's your welder anyway, so
it is. Whatever you did on this side,
yeah,
do it again. I just want to say I made David start recording again because look.
Well, I've been using a tool.
David measured something. David made not just fuck. No, next. No, next. He measured something. He's becoming.
Don't say it.
Less of a moron.
Yeah, that's better. I thought you were going to say an engineer. I'm not an engineer. I'm no use at that. If you were wondering, ladies and gentlemen at home, what cut you need to make on these T's to make that, it's 8mm. That's what we're doing. 8mm, and it's done that. Fantastic. That's exactly what I want. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. God, you must be loving the drinking game if you're playing at home. Or you might be really sloshed and don't know you're playing anymore. Right, so this will be the passenger side one. So I've cut that one. That's all I've cut. This one I'd already cut a different time, but we deemed that it was badly cut for the driver's side. So obviously these are all fine. And then I thought, well, let's just put the bad cut on the end and see what happens. You know, a little bit of resourcefulness. I don't think that's too bad. I think that's, you know, we'll look at all these gaps. But we've got, obviously, this is all going to be like welded together, so it's not the straightest thing in the world, let's put it that way. But I'm sure that can be adjusted. That's why we've got the paint lines. So, yeah, not bad, I think. But we'll see. This is Pete's build, so we'll see what he thinks. Evening all again.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening. Bar that one, which we are going to sort probably later. That one's going to be much more tricky because there's a steering rack in the way. So what we're going to do is we're going to weld all this up first and then do it, or like tack it all in place. Right, so passenger side needs marking. Driver's side needs marking. But this is what it's going to look like, basically. Yeah, I did a thing. I've actually been useful, like, for one workshop session. Ladies and gentlemen, it's only tacked in. But it fits! It fits! This is just the passenger side. Hey? Yeah. Right, hello all, how are we? As you can see, the exhaust is progressing fairly nicely. It fits, so that's a good start. We're now going to move slightly further along in the exhaust pipeline, if you will, whatever you want to call it. And Pete's going to tell you a little bit more about the turbos, because there's an update on them. Right, hello all, again, same session.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello. Is it your drinking game? God knows how many times we're playing this. Have you been playing the drinking game?
No, that's why I'm still alive.
Neither have I.
Right, go on.
Okay, the turbos are back from the professionals. All right, they're not professional.
No, they're professional. He was not professionals, he was professional. There was only one.
All right, the turbos are back, so now Pete needs to clock them.
Yeah.
Because that's a man's job, and I'm clearly not a man.
I'm not going to sit here and explain how to clock a TD04 turbo because there's loads of videos on YouTube on how to do it, so just go and watch one of them. What I am surprised, though, is that David's been here almost a fucking hour, and he's not clocked the TIG welder yet.
What? We've already had them.
What?
Is there actually a TIG welder here?
There is a TIG welder here.
Where?
Where? Put the camera back on me. Now, David's going to bleep this bit out now. People at home who have eyes and can see and, you know, aren't thick as fuck would notice the massive yellow and green gas cylinder that's at the side of me, which is normally connected to
the TIG welder.
Well, just a welder, yeah, and the TIG's down there.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Yeah, fair enough. I did notice there's a box over there that says Artec Welding on it, right? I noticed that earlier.
The box is this big, right? It's this thick. And he went, oh, there's a new TIG welder come. Yeah, in a box that big.
Well, was I right that there was a TIG welder? You told me that we weren't set up for TIG welding.
No, you said, is this the new TIG welder? And I said, no. And then you said, we set up for TIG welding. And I said, yes. And then you just carry on doing whatever you're doing. No. So I just like you to see if you ignore it. If you're doing what you're doing, you're not annoying me.
So I didn't know it was set up for TIG welding. That's exciting.
It is, but we've no power in the fucking workshop, so.
Well, there you go.
I was going to say, why is the lights on? They're on a different speed. We've had a mouse.
Oh dear. That's how you know this workshop's really a barn.
I think everybody's... yeah. Oh, that's going quite well, actually, for a change. And again, no, somebody's going, oh, you shouldn't hit the cold side. It's only held down with the fucking G-billy. Yeah, these are TD04s. We don't care. So, yeah. If they break, they break.
So, Pete, what are you doing?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, sorry. Let's start that again. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
There we go.
So, Pete, what are you doing?
Okay, so we're clocking two TD04 turbos. As some of you will know, I'll just show you on this one because we've already sanded it off. We have a locator pin which locates into the cartridge. Now, as we need to clock the turbos, we need the oil drain facing down, so we need to be able to what we call clocking, which is just rotate the turbo. So the locator pin is no longer going to fit in the right place, so you can just basically sand them off, cut them off, do whatever you want. and then you can clock your turbo. And I know some people are going to say, doesn't that, like, you know, move? No, it doesn't. I did it on the VVT turbo build and it's fine, and a lot of people have done it and it's fine. On the cold side, some of them also have a locator pin, which we've filed off. You can see there where it would fit in.
I think I showed that before.
I think David showed you that before. But yeah, they're fine. It's fine. Probably more to do with assembly than security, but yeah, they're fine.
Oh, another thing to mention. So we mentioned, I think it was in episode 8, that the hot sides got sent off to professional. Well, the professional didn't do a very professional job, so we've got new hot sides.
He did an alright job. I'm not going to call the guy because he did do an alright job. But anybody who's worked with the second-hand turbos will know the studs get seized in. It's a pain in the ass to get them out. A lot of people just cut them out, and I think that's what he's done. I think he's just cut them off and then re-drilled and tapped the holes. But when he did, the flanges didn't line up. Now, I know somebody's going to turn around again. You could say, well, does it matter, just make a new flange that does line up to the original bolt holes? Well, you could do that, but then you won't get a gasket that'll fit. So they kind of have to, everything has to fit everything, and it is what it is, unfortunately. So we've had to buy 2 new hot sides, which weren't too expensive. We didn't really want to spend the money, but we've got them now and we can rethread them, and happy days. One thing I have noticed though,
they look really shiny.
They look really shiny, but on the original TDOs, they use a fine threaded stud, whereas these just use a normal pitching. It's 1.25, that's a 1.5 M10. Yeah, so not the end of the world, but it does make you question where these came from, and I do think they are China's finest. But as long as they work, I don't care.
Right, well, thank you very much, Pete, for giving us an update about the turbos. We're now going to move on to just a general update about other things that have been going on while we've been doing exhaust and turbo stuff, because lots of things happen, but the main focus has been exhaust and turbos at the moment. Evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of V8 Greatness, or another session even. We've got an air, whatever this is, I think it's temperature. It looks like temperature to my eyes. This is new. We're working on the coolant, so that and that are going to end up connected. So we've got to cut a little bit of this metal out, and then this is going to have vaguely the same thing. And Pete will be running a rear mount radiator, which, if I come over here, is currently being used as a storage bin. But this is the radiator, which is nice. Yeah, so that's the plan. And we've also, I don't know if this was mentioned before, but this was fitted a while ago. Pete did this. The oil filter, I think I did talk about this, but the oil filter's got a nice home down there. Nice and easy to access. Yeah, and then I think the intercooler will go there. Or it might go in front of the crash bar. That's yet to be decided. But first of all, a hole has to be cut. Also, with the radiator stuff, these are the 2 pipes that are going to be running down to the back of the car. I'm not entirely sure where they're going to go yet. They're either going to go that side of the brace, or where, basically in one of these 2 positions. But we're not sure yet, because as you can see, this has been ground out before, and this sits just slightly proud of that. So it would ground out when you're coming out of the workshop. So it's a bit of a concern. The only other thing you could do, I suppose, would be to put an actual plate over the coolant line, but I don't think we want to do that. That would just add weight and make the ground clearance even less. So we might end up outside if we can get it mounted higher up. Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. I just thought I'd tell you about what's gone on. So we've got in here fuel lines. The sort of mounts for them have been installed on the Skid Nation brakes. And one other thing that's happened is just zip tied in at the moment. These are going to be where the coolant lines vaguely run. We just have to make sure they don't foul with the steering rack, and they don't, so happy days. Ladies and gentlemen, one other update for you this evening. that I forgot to mention. Balloons in the car. Pete's just doing some exhaust work. But at some point, Ian and Matt came back down while I've been away and put this back in. So thank you very much, Ian and Matt. And I believe it all works as well, so that's great. Right, well, that's all the updates for this video. Next video, more exhaust stuff, more turbo stuff, hopefully other things as well. We'll see. And I'm really hoping that we'll fire it up soon. Once we've got the exhaust headers on, then it'll be turned on. So, sweet. Well, anyway, that's it for today. So thank you very much for watching. See you next time.